Hey everyone, welcome to my YouTube channel if you're new, and this is the first time I'm making an appearance like this on the camera as a little intro to this next creative process video that I've made for you all. Thanks so much for subscribing. I really appreciate it, and it means a lot to me. Even if you just like or comment on it, it's just fabulous, and it just keeps me going, trying to create videos that people love. And hopefully maybe some of you might learn a new trick here or there, although I know probably most of you are very capable scrapbookers and travel note planners and things. So anyway, without further ado, today I'm super excited to be sharing with you my next layout for the Lottie Loves paper design team. I am using the Hey Hello collection from Pebbles, designed by Jen Hadfield, and focusing on strips of paper and, more importantly, like some of the branding strips that you get on the bottom of the pieces of paper. And I'm sure we've all got bits like that stashed away at home that we think, oh well, we just won't throw those away because they're too pretty and we may need them for a layout. So if you excuse me, I am trying to do this on my phone, so if I'm a little bit wobbly, I apologise, but this is the layout that I will be sharing today with you. So anyway, I hope you can see it. So there's usage of branding strips and strips of paper. So without further ado, let's head off and look at the video. So, as I said, I'm using, as you can see, I've cut the branding strips off of my paper there. And I also thought about using some of those cute little animals from the collection too. Excuse my head in the way. Right, so what I'm doing is I'm just trying to find where the centre of the page is, because I am using some of my crockery for this. So just to show you, you don't need to have all the expensive tools to make shapes that you need. And I quite frequently raid the cupboards and pull out plates or bowls to get my basic shape that I want. So this is going to be a layout which is part of the Lottie Loves Paper Retro Scrap Lift Challenge, and today I'm scrap lifting one of Nikki's first ever scrapbook pages, and it had a circular design element to it, and that's what I've concentrated on for this layout. So I'm literally just using, like I said, the branding strips from the paper, and any offcuts that I've got I've made into strips as well. So I'm going through all my colours and just coming up with piles of these strips in different lengths. I think I might have cut them a little bit too long, I'm not sure. So I did trim some off towards the end. Excuse me. There we go, so we've got all the strips, and you can see the faint line, pencil line that I've done to start building up like my frame of branding strips and bits of paper. So I wasn't sure how this is going to turn out, but I thought I'd just run with it, and once I got going I really enjoyed it. But as always, I've started to do stuff without sticking things down first, and really on a layout like this it really is an idea to stick as you go down, because to try and lift up all those pieces of paper again and put them back would just take forever. It's just so fiddly. So I started off like this, did about a quarter of the circle, and then decided no. So what I did was follow the pencil line bit by bit with my glue, and I use a wet glue, Cosmic Shimmer glue, and then started laying down the pieces. So it's really just a case, I tried to stick with the longer strips at the base and then build up with shorter strips and contrasting colours afterwards, just to add a bit of layer and dimension to the circle. So I've done that, and as you can see, and then I've just run it through my sewing machine to help hold it all in place. So what I've done is when I've stuck it down, made sure that I've used the tiniest bit of glue, because otherwise all the glue is just going to clog the needle up on your sewing machine. So like I said there, some of the strips were a bit long for me, I felt, so I just went round and just trimmed a few up just to try and even it out a bit. Now it's not a perfect circle, but that really doesn't matter. So I've got this photograph, and I decided on this layout I would do one about myself. I rarely scrap about myself, and I thought it would be good for my girls to look back at when they're older. And I wanted to share with them my love for animals. I absolutely love animals. I've been brought up with them since day one, and my job revolves around them and everything. So I just wanted to write down to them a few little words that were important to me about why I love animals so much. So I had some of the fussy cut flowers from the rainbow layout that I never used, and I thought I'd try and use those on this layout. And I wanted the photograph to pop off the page just a little bit more, so use some of that black polka dot paper just to go around it and help it, you know, frame it a bit more. I had printed the photograph out with a white border around it already, just to help me. There we go, another bowl. So now what I'm going to do is put my journaling on the inside of this circle. So I've done a very light pencil line with the bowl around my photograph, and then done some other pencil lines around it, just to act as a kind of guideline for where I'm going to do my journaling, to try and keep it in that circular pattern as I'm writing it. I'm doing it really faintly, so once I've journaled with my black pen, I can then use the rubber to remove all those pencil lines. So then decided to do my title, and I went with Talk to the Animals. And these were the thickers that came with the collection. They're a lovely pink colour with lighter polka dots, like lighter pink polka dots on. So I wasn't sure where I was going to put my title. It was going to go above the top to begin with, but then I decided it would look better underneath. So just placing those down. I wanted them to be evenly spread so that the first letter of the title and the last letter of the title were pretty level horizontally with one another. So just a few little tweaks there to get my title right. And I could have machine stitched over those again there just to hold them down. Now I wasn't too sure whether that pink really stood out against that bright fussy cut wreath, but I tried with some black alphas and they didn't work, so I went back to the original. Now I thought that behind my photograph could do with a little bit of detail, so I decided to use some Distress Oxide ink spray and water it down slightly. And as soon as I put it on my layout, I regretted it. we all do mistakes every now and again, and I was just like, oh. Now luckily most of it obviously would get covered with my photograph, but it was just a bit too bright and in your face for me, but never mind, we just roll with it and just keep going. So as you can see, there we go, I'm just starting to write my journaling, and I'm going around in the circular motion and what would you call it? And as I go, it's spiraling in towards the centre where my photograph is. Now, I just wanted to tell the story of how my love for animals began and my journey with working with animals. Now as I was doing this, I was really pleased with how it was turning out, and I had actually put little pencil lines around where the corners of my photograph were and some of the floral ephemera, but I got a bit carried away. Here you go, you can see that I'm using the photograph, but I'd forgotten completely about those florals that I was going to use to try and, you know, bring my photograph out from the page a little bit. And the floral arrangement that I decided on at the beginning no longer worked, because the longer leaf bit on them overlapped all my writing and you couldn't read what I'd written, so that was a bit of a mistake as well. So I had to go back to the drawing board and just adapt those flowers and use a few different ones as well, just so that it didn't cover up the journaling too much, and I think I just about got away with it. So I'm sticking my photograph and those florals down with some mini foam pad stickers, just so it brings it out from the page and pops off in the middle. And I'm hoping that by doing my journaling going round in a spiral in it, it actually draws your eye into that photograph as the main focus. And there you have it really. That is the layout. Pretty simple really. So why don't you get out your branding strips and scraps of paper and give it a go. I really like the effect that came with it, and I hope you do too. If you've enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up and comment. That would be fantastic. And subscribe. So thanks for watching, and I'll leave you to watch the stills. Bye.